Hello, and my name is Pete Rushmer, and I'm your host today of A Half Dozen Things podcast. A Half Dozen Things is a podcast for business owners just like you. Whether you're an underdog hungry for success, or you're already smashing it but want to continue to level up, we are here each week for you to get insight and learning from the very best in the business. No fluff, no BS, and no self-proclaimed gurus talking about how easy business or life is.
Hello and welcome to this episode of A Half Dozen Things podcast. My name is Pete Rushmer and you guys will know me as the host of the podcast, and I'm here to talk about Men's Health Week because this week is the podcast being released, fresh release, and it's the Men's Health Forum's Men's Health Week, which happens on an annual basis, and it's sort of mid-June as I'm recording this, and each year there's a theme for the Men's Health Forum. Now, many of you know who have listened to the podcast for a while that men's health is really important to me as a sort of nearing middle age. I can't help but say that because I say nearing middle age because I'm obviously struggling to accept the fact that at 37 or nearly 38 that I'm nearing middle age. Hopefully those motorcycles in the background aren't too loud for you. It's tricky because we're having a bit of a heat wave as I record this. It's very warm, so I'm hidden away in my snug and recording studio, but I've had to open the window, open the door, because it's a bit hot, really. Anyway, hopefully that wasn't too loud and you guys can hear me nice and fine. Anyway, but so men's health obviously is a vital thing, and those of you that have listened will know that I've had my fair share of mental health challenges in the past, as well as continuing to do so, and something that I look after and I make a conscious effort to look after myself, both physically and mentally. And certainly in the past, I've had some real health concerns too. Those of you that have listened for a long time will have heard about me talking about the time that I was in a coma when I was younger, and obviously had some really severe physical challenges around my health and the impact that has. And I think that certainly as a father of 4 children and a husband, and working in a male-dominated industry, I do understand that women tend, generally speaking, to be more conscious about their health, and that men can often be a little bit more ignorant towards their health and take themselves for granted. So I'm all for, I'm generally against these awareness weeks from a marketing point of view, because I think that a lot of the time they're there just to create marketers' content. And I do understand the irony in me being here creating a podcast around one of these awareness weeks, but actually some of them are really meaningful. And I think that men's health is particularly one of those. It's something that's very close to my heart. And I think that the more we talk about men's health, the better. So I actually, based on the content and the theme for this year's Men's Health Week, which is the internet, I did a poll on LinkedIn to my 10,000 followers on there, and they have, and I asked them, do you think that the internet poses you a challenge for your well-being? And I've had an overwhelming response. People had the option of yes, no, or maybe, and 60% of people said yes, that the internet does pose them a challenge for their well-being, which I find absolutely fascinating. And of those overwhelming 60% of people, there'll be varying reasons, because the internet is different things for different people. And the internet is a useful tool. It's a very, very useful tool that's part of a toolbox of everyday life for all of us. And it gives us powerful access to information. It gives us the opportunity to connect with people, regardless of where our geography is in the world. But the tricky thing is the internet can really cause us some challenges around the way it makes us feel, or the way that people, or the way that we perceive how other people are getting on in the world. And potentially we see obviously all of the warts and all truth of our own lives, but actually we see a fairly limited window of other people's and the things that other people are doing. And I think that can really pose a challenge, and particularly having this constant access to other people's thoughts and them sharing stuff and sharing photos and videos. It could be overwhelming. Just the content alone can be particularly overwhelming. Feeling that you might miss something, that fear of missing out is can be particularly challenging. So I personally enjoy disconnecting from the internet. I've certainly had periods of time where I've caught myself on this thing, looking at it and going, Pete, just get off your phone, because the kids are trying to talk to you, or the kids are trying to engage, or somebody's trying to engage with you. So I have a really sharp rule around my mobile phone that I tend to try and keep it in my pocket as much as possible. And one of the other things I do is, and I don't know if it's useful for listeners or not, but I actually turn all my notifications off. If people need me, they will ring me. And if you have all your notifications on, there's multiple ways that people can get in touch with you, through LinkedIn, through WhatsApp, through Messenger on Facebook, through Facebook they can contact you, through text message, through telephone call, through WhatsApp call. Multiple ways of people getting in touch with you. And one of the things I've done recently, actually, around starting to reduce my tech time, I suppose, I know it's not internet specifically, but my tech time, is I've just invested in a dual SIM phone. So I've now got a personal number and a work number, and it means that I can divert my work number when I'm not at work, and it means that I can really start to disconnect that time. Because as a business owner, those of you that are within businesses where you are on demand a lot of the time, it can be quite challenging to differentiate that away time. So it's an interesting thing, and internet is it's particularly a challenge because it's so easy. We're so bored now, we get bored so easily that it's an easy way to entertain ourselves, to go and have a look at something on the internet, search YouTube, search one of the numerous social media channels. It can be tricky. So what do the Men's Health Forum say about the internet and how this campaign is working for understanding that? And they are saying what the 5 ways to well-being, which is CAN DO. So CAN DO is an acronym, CANDO, and the first one is to connect. So making sure that we connect with other people, for example, making a conscious effort to call an old friend or a family member, which I think is obviously a really cool thing to do. And certainly I know, actually just verbalizing that my old friend Ben reached out this week, and that made me feel great, because he dropped me a message, how are things going? It'd be great for us to arrange to catch up soon. And I sent a message to a few other friends, and I'm meeting up with them tomorrow evening, and I've not seen them in a few months. So what a fantastic opportunity. And as men, we tend to get older, and our friends tend to sort of disappear a little bit, and we spend less time with people we like. And generally speaking, men will socialize with people who do the same stuff as they do. And what will happen is, over time, is that stuff starts to stop, and we get less time spending with friends. So I think we need to make a conscious effort to make sure we connect with our friends and stay in touch with people. So
hi, it's Pete from Flagship Partners. We're proud to sponsor a Half Dozen Things podcast. Flagship Partners help their clients become safer, greener, and greater through a range of consultancy and training services. We offer audits through to risk assessments, contracts through to support with managing your culture, all the way from mandatory training through to management training as well. So if you need any support, please do get in touch with Flagship Partners today.
I enjoy getting in touch with the family, and I enjoy getting in touch with old friends. And if you're listening to this and you're one of my old friends, please do drop me a message. It'd be lovely to hear from you, and I'd love to connect. But certainly that resonates with me. And certainly this week, there's probably 2 or 3 social things that I've organised with friends that I haven't seen for some time, and that has definitely had a boost to my well-being. So that's really good. The second one is around being active. Making sure that we move our bodies. Now, it's so easy because so many people have a sedate role now at work as well, spend long periods of time sat down, and then obviously we lie down in bed, and we spend much time not moving as much as we could do. And I've got a really interesting story around the fact that those of you that know me well will know that I've been actually on a bit of a health kick so far this year. So I've been looking to reduce my body fat and lose a bit of weight. The goal isn't necessarily to lose weight, but to be healthier. And one of the things I've been doing is I've massively reduced my calorie intake and increased my level of activity and the amount I'm training. And I'm training regularly 4 or 5 times a week, and I'm doing some pretty heavy lifting. I'm doing some quite heavy cardio, and I'm working really hard. But actually, I've still only been consuming around 1,600 calories a day, which is quite a small amount. for a guy who is 6 foot and just over 100 kilos now. I was 120 kilos in January, and I've lost 18 kilos, which I'm really proud of. But also, it's crazy how much we actually need to move our body and how little energy we actually need to consume through our diet, and making sure that we pick the right food. So this isn't so much about the nutrition side, but what I'm saying is that actually we need to be a lot more active. I didn't really realize how little calories I was burning through the activity I was taking part. So there's a few little non-negotiations that I try and keep to. And the one is that I get 10,000 steps a day, because I love walking. I love being outside. I love going for a walk. And actually, I also make sure I disconnect as well. So I put my phone away. I don't get interrupted when I go for a walk. And it's lovely. Maggie and I'll often go together. I'll go with one of the kids, and it's fantastic one-to-one time, being able to go for a walk. Additionally, I'll go to the gym and I'll train and spend time doing that too. So obviously I know I'm very fortunate, and some people are really, really busy in their work, but I do suggest prioritizing that. I deliberately, I get up early and I finish work late, and that means that I know that I've made time to do my activity and be active for the day. So that's C and A. N is notice. So this is about being present, taking notice of the environment we're in and switching our phone off for an hour or so. So I kind of do that at the same time as being active. I disconnect. I might listen to a bit of music or what have you, but overall I'm being very aware particularly when I go for a walk. I tend to just make a note of the environment I'm in and what's going on around me, and connecting with the person I'm with. One of the other things that I tend to do, and I found really useful, and people are going to smile when they know how unflexible I am, I've actually started doing yoga recently, and I have absolutely loved it. And anyone who knows me as a bit of an alpha weightlifting kind of guy, I'm still that guy, right? And actually, what I found is by doing yoga, it's made me massively stronger in my weightlifting. It's made a massive impact. I just can't even begin to explain how much more weight I'm able to lift, which is really, really, for me, that's really interesting. So, but the benefit of yoga, the reason I notice it when I talk about the end part of this, which is notice, is that yoga gives you that moment of stillness and mindfulness where it's just yourself and you are stretching. I tend to use a YouTube video to help me do that, and it helps remind me to just connect with the present and not think too much about the future and not to think about the past, because in the future that's where anxiety lives, and in the past that's where depression lives, and it's good to be present in the here and now. So I love that notice. So fantastic. I like the can do. And the D and the O, so discover. So learning something new, making sure you read a book, do a training course, learn something new, experience something new. That's obviously really good to keep the old grey matter working. So hopefully those of you listening to the podcast, maybe you're thinking about new things to do. Maybe you're listening to other podcasts. Maybe you're listening to some books, reading some books. But I really do recommend subscribing to Audible, because it's easy to do whilst you're in the car. You can listen whilst you're traveling. So many people have to travel for work. I think the average commute is something like 30 minutes. So you can listen to an hour's book a day. And if you listen to it 2 times speed, like I do, you could listen to a couple of hours of a book a day without actually having to add any additional work to your day or to find any extra time. It's time that's already there. So discovering and learning new stuff gives us a fantastic feeling of well-being, and it empowers us to learn more too. I really recommend, my book recommendation for today is looking at Ryan Holiday and his Daily Stoic and Stoic Philosophy books. I think they're absolutely brilliant and well worth the read of anyone's time. I think they're absolutely brilliant, and you'll have heard me talk a lot about Stoic philosophy, and I love it. And then the final thing of the 5 is the O, can do, and the O is about offering, and it's offering or giving for something or someone else, volunteering, being of service. So I've listened to quite a few and read quite a few books by Deepak Chopra and Eckhart Tolle, and for some people that might be a bit, some of their books might be a bit woo-woo and they talk about some more spiritual type stuff. But one of the things that's a really common theme is that actually people who have the well-being and they're happy in their lives, they live a life of service to others, and ultimately going and doing cool stuff for other people is an amazing way of being able to volunteer and help support and give yourself well-being at the same time. It's an amazing way of making you feel happy and supporting other people. You don't need to have pots of money to give away. What about just helping, giving up a bit of time for somebody else and doing something great for them today? I try and do it as a non-negotiable on a daily basis. What have I done? What have I done for somebody else? What have I done as a service to the people around me? And I try and make a note of that. One of the interesting things that I heard on a podcast recently, I was listening to the High Performance podcast, and they were interviewing somebody, and they were talking about their 5 T's for well-being. I thought that was really interesting. So just as a little bonus session for on top of the 5 that we've already done around can do, and they are not 5 T's, 5 F's, which is around journaling on a daily basis. So journaling was something that I'd never really done previously, and I've always struggled because what do you write? I don't really know what I need to write. Like, what is it? It sounds a bit like a teenager keeping a diary, right? But ultimately, the 5 F's are around what am I feeling as a start. So that's good to make a note. Think about what is it that I'm feeling at the moment. What am I fearing? Which I find really useful to reflect on a daily basis about the things that I fear. What is it that maybe I'm avoiding doing because I'm scared of the outcome? Why am I scared of it? And start to try and understand that. I also look at my future. So I write down what my future is. And on a daily basis, I'll just write down about my future. That can get a bit repetitive, but what it does is it helps you to think about those things, what you're doing each day to help you move towards the future that you want. The 4th one is around forgiving. So who do I need to forgive today? Which is really useful. I find that very interesting to think about, what's happened today and who do I need to forgive, what has been done, or what have I seen that I think needs some forgiveness. And then finally, the final F is being thankful. So what am I thankful for? And yes, I do know that that's a spelling error, but I quite like it as a 5 F's. So the 5th one is about being thankful and what am I thankful for. So those are the 5 F's. And obviously the can do acronym as well. And hopefully you've got some takeaways there to think about what you're doing on a regular basis for your well-being. I'll be interested to hear more from you, so please do drop me a comment. But this is a Half Dozen Things podcast. If you do need some support with your well-being, if you feel like you've got some challenges, I'm more than happy for you to reach out, give me a shout. I'm here to help support you. But I hope this has been useful, and look after yourself, whether you're a man or a woman or something in between. Please do give us a shout, and please do look after yourselves. I think it'd be fantastic for you to look after your health. I think everybody, regardless of gender, regardless of anything else, needs to look after themselves. So look after yourself, and I'll see you on the next podcast. Thank you.
I really hope you loved today's episode, and if you did, please make sure you subscribe and listen out for future episodes too. Please do share it across your social media channels. We hope to reach more and help more people. If you want to find out more about me, my name's Pete Rushmer. You'll find me across any social media channel, and my business, Flagship Partners, and we're your partners in success across your business. Thank you. See you again soon.